Hi everyone, welcome to another episode of Let's Be Real analysis series. Today we are going to talk about Vela Bay. And Vela Bay is going to be an upcoming project that is going to be at District 16, Bayshore area, the very first plot. So we'll be diving right into it. So today, right, in terms of content, we'll be talking about like the project information, oversupply situation in Bayshore. I think this is something that a lot of people actually has an issue with, or like they have a lot of concern that, it's the first plot coming in Bayshore and there's going to be so many other units. What is going to be the situation like? Is it a good time for me to enter? So I'll be addressing that. Thirdly, we'll be talking about seafront facing unit versus non-seafront facing and premium of the seafront unit. So this one we'll be taking a look into a comparison with projects that is nearby, those that are facing the sea, and what about those that are not facing the sea? What's the difference in terms of premium? So fourthly, we'll be touching on identifying sweet spot. So sweet spot wise, it's like basically the best unit or the better units to buy in this project. So if you want to know like the full how to identify sweet spot, please look at my binary video, which is the one that I did with Gina previously. Today, it will just be a touch and go. And lastly, we'll be talking about the layout analysis. Next up, most important, we'll be talking about the important date. So tentatively, preview will be from 11 April to 21st April and the booking day will be on the 25th April. Next, we'll be talking about developer. So our developer for Vela Bay is none other than Singhai. And Singhai is no stranger to a lot of Singaporeans or investors out there because they are the one that create a lot of iconic projects, such as like, for example, Park Clementi's in the Clementi area, Park Como in Changi area, Park Colonia in Woodleigh area, etc. And they are also the developer that create like DBSS, EC, and also condo. So they fully understand what Singaporean needs in terms of like layout, space, etc. So usually when there is Singhai project, right, you know that the layout is not too bad one, usually quite good. Next, we'll be talking about location. So location-wise, we are sitting on a 60 hectare of land and this whole piece is going to be a new plot of land coming up in this area and Vela Bay is going to be the first one. And when we talk about 60 hectare, you can imagine it being like 75 football field or so. It's very big piece. You can imagine a very vibrant neighborhood that's coming up, lining with shops, F&B, grocery shops, and things like that. And residents get to enjoy like dedicated cycling path from Bayshore all the way to Bedok South area. So next up is another location map. So basically, Vela Bay is situated over here. In the future, there will be a linear park and a central park. This whole area is actually East Coast Park already. So there will be approximately about 10,000 units coming into this area. So there is going to be an influx of like residential area. Going to be a lot of like the BTOs and things like that. So these are the first plot of BTOs that are already launched. There are two plots that are already launched. So you can see these are the upcoming developments. There's a lot of residential, park, medical, a lot of facilities and amenities coming into this area. So this is a very important slide. This is the main thing. So we have 10,000 units coming into this area. Today, I'm going to show you how it's going to impact you. So basically, you can see Vela Bay is actually over here. There are upcoming BTO in this area and these are all going to be residential zone. So right now, we are beside the Bayshore and Costa del Sol, which we will be diving into it as well. So out of 10,000 units, right, actually 3,000 of them are private residential and 7,000 of them is HDB. But I just got to maybe share with you, maybe the HDB might not impact you so much because these are the plus HDB, meaning to say maybe they will need about 3 years of build time, another 10 years before the MOP, that is 13 years of time. Unless you are telling me that you're going to hold it for very long and wait for the upgraders. Otherwise, if you're just going to hold it for 4 or 5 years, then it won't really impact you that much. Okay, next up, we'll be talking about amenities and connections. So basically, we are in the midst over here, which is Bayshore, and we are seated at the tail line, which is the Thomson East Coast line, that eventually is going to connect to Bedok South, that is opening up this year, second quarter, and go all the way to Changi Airport Terminal 5 area. And on top of that, if you're someone that likes to visit JB, previously you're going to probably take train, take bus, or take a cab to like the Woodlands area. Right now, you can connect all the way to Woodlands. And in 2026, right, the transport directly to JB will be open already. So you are connected all the way from the east to the north area. Of course, not forgetting that we are just 14 minutes drive away to the Changi Airport area and another 15 minutes to MBS. So you are literally in between Changi area, and also the CBD area. And of course, we are a short walk to East Coast Park. And if you're someone that likes to jog or cycle by the beach, this will be a very, very location for you. And we are also 1 kilometer to Temasek Primary School. So on top of that, okay, this page is basically if you are a cyclist or if you are someone that likes to jog and all, basically we are situated over here. You are front facing the whole East Coast area, linking from the National Sailing Centre from closer to the airport side all the way to MBS. And this is the whole cycling route that you can see over here. I used to like to cycle a lot. So this is actually the route that I do cycle quite a bit during the COVID days, nothing to do. So for Vela Bay, right, these are the impressions that we have right now. We have two blocks, Block 1 and Block 3. And we are the closest to the East Coast Park area and then to the sea view. Right now, we'll be diving into the project information of Vela Bay. So Vela Bay is a 99 years project, 2 blocks of 31-story high-rise with 9 units per floor, 515 units with 2 basement car park. And the basement car park lot is 258. Technically speaking, I don't think a lot of people will be driving or like parking their car there because you are right next to the Bayshore MRT. Okay, and we are also encouraging car light in Singapore, etc. Then moving on, we got outside map. So we got 2 blocks of it, Block 1 and Block 3. Like what I mentioned, 9 units per level. It's actually a very, very simple project. We have our tennis court over here. Next slide, I will be showing you where are the gyms and things like that. Basically, if you're talking about like the pool and also like the pavilions, they are all on level 1. The gym and all the exercising area, fitness corner, tennis, they are in your basement 1. And there will be 3 side gates. Even for a project that is of this size, you actually get 3 side gates. One that link you directly to the MRT area, one is to the Bayshore Drive area, and the other one is to Bayshore Walk, which is closer to the East Coast Park area. Drop off, it will be at the B1 or B2 of the car park level. Okay, so next slide, this is actually where the clubhouse will be situated at. The clubhouse and the gym are relatively close to the MRT area. You have your pavilion and lounges over here, and your pool is going to be over here. So this is actually the site map of Vela Bay. It ranges from 1 bedder plus study all the way to 5 bedder and 2 penthouses, which I will be sharing shortly. Next up, we're talking about the view. So for Vela Bay, it's really more about the view and things like that. So imagine this area, you get to enjoy your very fantastic sea view. You have a pocket area where you enjoy your very low-rise landed view in your east area. And then of course, this whole plot coming down will be your future BTO and other private residential units. And then we have the high-rise view over here, which is Costa del Sol, the Bayshore, etc. So next up, similar, this is what I mentioned. You got unblocked sea and park view, which later I'll mention which stack you will actually get that, and then you'll get your East Coast Park. So of course, East Coast Park, you know that it's a very big park with very high trees. So only if you clear like maybe level 11 and above, then you get your full-fledged sea view. If you're on a lower unit, then of course you'll be looking at the expressway and also the tree area. And then, so this is a better slide. This is actually our side area. You have the pocket view of the low rise. If you are looking over here, it will be your East Coast Park view. And these are the tall building, Costa del Sol and the Bayshore. And then you have the older condo in this area. And this will be your future HDB and future development area. Okay, next up, we will be going into our site map. So basically, there will be 3 kinds of different facing, which I will be touching on later on, more in-depth as well. So first off, the red color one will be the one that is facing the landed enclave, or if not, it will be your inner facing, and this will be your next future development. And then the blue one, this side you'll be facing like the pool area to the sea area. And this slide, you'll be facing to the sea area as well, starting from level 11. And then of course, you got a full sea view in this 2 stack. For unit type, like I mentioned, we are 1 bedder all the way to 5 bedder, and there will be 2 penthouses. I have the unit split over here. So for 1 bedder plus study, only 5% in this whole project, only 27 unit out of 515 unit. For 2 bedder, slightly more, 197 unit, 38%. For 3 bedder, 175 unit, 34%. For 4 bedder, it's about 17%, and for 5 bedder, it's about 5%. So you can see that actually in the whole District 16 area, there's a lot of focus on 2 bedder and 3 bedder and even 4 bedder, but not a lot of 1 bedder. Personally, I feel that the 1 bedder is actually very interesting because you do get a sea view after you cross certain level and things like that. Now let's talk about the oversupply situation in Bayshore, which is a concern that a lot of people actually highlight to me and my colleagues, especially when we spoke of Bayshore. Because it's true, there are so many units coming in this area, 10,000 to be exact. How would it impact us? So until now, if you have any question, if you need the whole set of information, project information, impressions and things like that, drop me a text over here and I'll be very happy to share it with you. So now let's look at the upcoming supply in Bayshore. So we can see, like I mentioned earlier, 10,000 units coming up in this area, but 7,000 of them are actually, BTO or HDB. 3,000 are private condo. Frankly speaking, like what I mentioned, the HDB won't really impact you as much unless you are intending to hold longer and you are banking on the fact that they are your future potential upgraders. But other than that, right, because the build time is about 3 years, and these are the HDB plus units, meaning to say that their MOP is slightly longer than the usual MOP, is about 10 years time. You're talking about minimally like a 13 years wait. By then you probably have already flipped another time already, so they might not impact you as much. But the ones that will directly impact you are the 3,000 private condos that's coming in this area, which is the whole this zone and this zone area. Next, I just want to ask you guys this question before we dive into how this will impact you. Most importantly is when there's an oversupply, right? Who do you think will be more worried about this situation? The buyers or the sellers? Frankly speaking, as a buyer, right, I'll be very happy. There's so many units or projects for me to choose. I can see and wait, right? But for the sellers, of course, there will be more concern, right? Because now, oh no, there's a lot of supply coming up. What if the buyers hold on? And they will be more concerned. What if no one buy our unit? Binary selling, like first day 90% sold. What if I only sell like 25%? Who's gonna lose face? Me, right? So in this case, when we're talking about sellers, right? So what happened is all these sellers, right? There's a higher potential of them that they might either price it very, very safely, or they might even price it slightly below market price, or at least average market price. That they won't go and ask for a sky high price. Although I got a very nice sea view, I'm going to ask for a very, very high PSF. Because why? They will also be concerned of this oversupply situation. So in the future, right, where would then be your concern? It will be when you become the seller of it, maybe after 4 years, the build-up or SSD period, then it will be your concern. But I just want to highlight that previously what I mentioned earlier for the seller concern, we are talking about developer in that context. But 4 years later, it will be a resale market. It will be a completely different ballgame already. And how is it so? Let me guide you into it. So first off, I take River Valley as an example. So for River Valley area, right, it was very hyped up last year, even until now. So when you come into a River Valley area as a buyer, naturally, what would you want? You will want for example, like a river view at least. So we look at the unique characteristic for the different projects that are already up. Zion Grand and Promenade Peak, what is the unique selling point? They are high-rise skyscraper. River Green, what is the selling point? They are basically the more normal condo in that area, landscape, a lot of landscaping, closer to MRT. Facility is not like the high-rise skyscraper, it's all like in your face on level 1, etc. For River Modern, what is the highlight? Number 1, close to MRT. Number 2, highest, what do they shout out most? Highest number of river-facing unit, right? So how does it correlate to Bayshore area? Now, I mentioned with you earlier on Bayshore area, right? Next time when you want to sell, that is your concern. And when it's your concern, right, it's a resale period. And resale buyers coming in, right, most importantly, they would be looking at nearer to MRT. You got sea view or not? In this case, you got river view or not? So you will be the number 1 choice where buyer will be highly likely arrange a viewing with you first to look at your unit before the other plots. Because some other plots, they might be getting like block view, or maybe the unit is not ready for sale yet. So you'll be having the first mover advantage, and also you will be buyers will be going in because, oh, there's sea view, you're closer to MRT. So there are a lot more demand coming for viewing wise. Next up, you are actually entering during this period of time where the developers are very scared because I can't position too high because there's a lot of supply coming up in this area. I will try to position it very safely, or in fact, maybe they might position it slightly below the market value. So this is actually a very, very safe time for you to enter because of this 2 points. Number 1, people entering this area because they want a sea view, they want near MRT, and number 2, you are buying in at a time when developer is scared. So next up, we'll be talking about seafront facing versus non-seafront facing premium. So I have did the research for you guys. I did up a comparison between Costa del Sol and the Bayshore. So Costa del Sol is actually 5 years younger than the Bayshore. They are in a similar area, actually right next to Vela Bay. So what I'm trying to do here is I take out 2, 3, and 4 bedder as comparison. And all the PSF you see here is the highest PSF that is transacted. So I'll be looking at 2 bedder, 3 bedder, and 4 bedder as a comparison in terms of if let's say you have the seafront facing, how much you will earn more than the non-seafront facing. So basically for the two-bedder wise, right, I would say that it's a little bit unfair because for Costa del Sol, they don't really have a lot of two-bedder. The older condo in the area, they try to concentrate a lot more on the bigger unit type like the three-bedder, four-bedder or five-bedder. So unfortunately, this comparison might be a little bit unfair because they only have 30 units out of 906 units. So obviously not many transactions, and you can see that the percentage of premium increase is not as high. But you can see for the three and four-bedder, right, in terms of PSF, large transacted in that area, a resale, we already hit like the 2,100 mark. And you're looking at a 42% and 37% more in terms of premium as compared to a non-seafront facing. So a lot of people will say, a bit unfair because they are 5 years different. So what I did is, I dig out another two projects, similar area, District 15, and they are also 5 years apart. So we talk about Amber Sky and Amber Park. Amber Sky is 2017. Amber Park is 2023. So we will be looking at the 2, 3, 4-bedder as well. But for this project, the 4-bedder will be a bit unfair because for Amber Sky, the 4-bedder is really, really big, 4,629 square feet. Whereas the Amber Park 4-bedder size is pretty similar to a lot of the 4-bedder in this area, which is also similar to our Vela Bay one, which is 1,500 plus square feet. So for the 2 and 3-bedder, you can see that in terms of, even though we don't talk about seafront facing or non-seafront facing, right, in terms of a standard 5 years gap, you'll be looking at an 18% difference, meaning to say the younger one actually earn about 18% more as compared to maybe the 5 years older one. But you can see from the previous page, the seafront versus non-seafront, instead of 18%, the difference you'll be looking at 42 and 37, significantly much higher. This shows that actually seafront facing is very, very much sought after. I mean, obviously, Singapore don't really have a lot of sea already, and if you're seafront facing, you are like that minimum percentage of owner that is owning that. Next, we'll be going into identifying sweet spot. As mentioned, how to identify a sweet spot, which is like the better units to concentrate on during the new launch itself, especially on booking day, is really to identify the project's unique selling point and also the developer pricing strategy. And pricing strategy wise, typically we got 3 strategy per floor jump. So, from which floor to which floor you have a bigger jump, you try to avoid that. Which floor to which floor lower jump, you try to go for that. View jump, which is like better view as compared to like maybe inner view and things like that, which is something that we'll talk more about today. And then unit type, because we know that these days, the bigger unit type doesn't mean that PSF gets smaller, and all. But if you want to know the full how to spot a sweet spot, please refer to my previous video, because today I'm going to dive straight into it. Our sweetest spot is actually these 4 units over here. So after discussion with the team and things like that, there are 3 different kind of facing like I mentioned earlier on. This is actually the more towards the landed facing. We have the super nice seafront facing. Of course, it will come at a premium, but when you sell, likely there will be also a premium. And you have another one that is like seated in the middle, which is you get the pool view. And then further down, it's actually the sea view. So some people concern is, actually there's another block of condo over here. What if they build the building over here or like the block over here and your view might be blocked? But frankly speaking, developer also not so silly, at this point in time. Most of the time, if they put a very big unit that is here, likelihood the other development, probably they will put like maybe a car park or like a landscape over here, and then the blocks might be over here. So shouldn't be a problem, but because of this possibility of having something that is blocking this area, the likelihood that the developer might be pricing it slightly lower might be higher. Again, identifying sweet spot is very, very much depending on like, what are the price or what's the price that is coming during the launch day itself. We can say this is the sweet spot right now, but on that day itself, it might change suddenly. So right now, what we can identify in this area likely is in between the, of course, the inner facing and the landed facing, and also the seafront facing. So it's likely in the middle, and we will prefer the mid floor, which is maybe above 11th floor, because that is when you actually get your sea view instead of like a tree-line view. So without further ado, let's dive into the layout analysis. So for this project itself, we have 1-bedder plus study all the way to 5-bedder. So for 1-bedroom plus study, it's located over here. This is actually where the park, basically the ECP and also the park, and then the sea view is this whole area as well. So it's very interesting that 1-bedder plus study, you actually do get a bit of a sea view and all. So I believe it's going to be very, very popular. Actually, there's only 5%, 20 over units, probably is going to be snatched out on the first day. So for this 1 plus study, there's this extra corner area that most people might convert it into a study area or like a storage area. Very, very nice Jack and Jill concept. Other than that, dining is actually tucked at the side, so a bit more of a privacy. You do get balcony as well. So if you're someone, with the budget of 1-bedder, I don't think you need to wait for it at all. So for next up, 2-bedder. 2-bedder, we got three different type of the normal two-bedder. These are the 2-bed 1-bath. They are all equivalent in size. In fact, the layout are almost all identical. The only thing you need to take note is actually the stack. So we have one that is over here, which is the sweet spot that we mentioned earlier. We have one that is facing the back, which is the landed area. And we have one that is facing the sea area, which likelihood of it having a premium, it will be higher. Other than that, pretty much simple. You come in from the kitchen area, it's tucked at one side. The only difference is that for this dining area, it has a little bit more privacy because it's tucked behind the kitchenette area. But for the other two, it protrudes out a little. Other than that, everything is the same. It's a dumbbell concept. Next up, we go into 2-bed premium. So for 2-bedder premium, there's actually 4 different types. The first type that we are going to see is the 689 square feet, slightly bigger one. So these are the 2-bed, 2-bath. This one will have a little bit more privacy because there is a bit more of a wall coverage over here. Same, they are dumbbell layout as well. Most importantly is we want to identify the stack. So we have stack 8 and stack 16. Stack 8 will be facing the seafront area and stack 16 will be facing the landed enclave area. So for the next up, the C and the D is slightly smaller, 678 square feet. In terms of stack 14, which is facing the sea area, and we have stack 7 that is facing the sea area as well. But these two are the ones that I like a little bit more because the kitchen is no longer the open concept kind. You have a tuck-in kitchen over here and you have a tuck-in kitchen over here. For D, in fact, you even have a very private dining space over here. So in terms of layout, I won't dive a lot into it because for the different projects, we always talk about layout. So long as you know that it's quite similar, then we can move on already. So for our 2-bedroom top choice, I came out with 2. One is the 2-bed 1-bath and the other one is the 2-bed 2-bath. So basically for the 2-bed 1-bath one, I chose the one which is the sweet spot that we mentioned earlier on. This is more for investor if you're looking at buying into a smaller unit type. If you're someone that is going for own stay, you want a very, very comfortable unit, of course you want to go for something that is like a seafront facing. And I really, really like this layout because it's a tuck-in kitchen and you have a very private dining space. Also, next time in the resale market, more buyers will actually prefer this kind of layout. So that is my top choice. Next up, we go into 3-bedder. So for the standard 3-bedder, we got 3 different unit type. They are similar sizes, 883 to 893 square feet. So basically, they are, in terms of layout wise, this is a very traditional layout. The moment you come in, proper kitchen tucked at one side, dining and living, and then you have all the units tucked at all the bedroom tucked at one side. And this is in stack 2. Stack 2, we'll be talking about the inner facing one, and the likelihood is that there won't be much of a premium because it's inner facing and there is no sea view. Maybe it might be one of the lower price ones. So that is one to look out for. Next, 3-bedroom B, which is in stack 18. This is the stack that is actually over here facing the landed area. So it's a bit traditional, but then again, the rooms are separated in such a way that it's like that. Very, very private. But for this one, the kitchen area, you do get a bit of a glass kitchen. So more lights get to come into your kitchen. Your kitchen is not as dark as compared to the A model. And then next up, which is 883. This one is the one that is stack 12, which is under the sweet spot that I mentioned earlier. This is a little bit more towards a dumbbell layout already. Don't have enclosed kitchen, but you have a kitchen that is tucked at this area. If you want, you can change it into an enclosable kitchen. But personally, I think this is actually a very, very nice one if you want to rent it out or if you want to use it for own stay as well. Next, 3-bedroom premium. So we have 3 different layouts for 3-bedroom premium, but they are all identical in terms of the layout itself, in terms of size as well. Exactly the same, 1033 square feet. So it's all about the stack. So for 3-bedder premium A, it will be stack 1, and stack 1 will be more towards over here, which is the inner facing one. And then we have 3B, premium B, which is stack 3. Stack 3 will be over here. You get a sea view. And then after that, we have stack 13, which is over here. You do get sea view as well. So for our 3-bedroom top choice, right, for the 3-bedder, I chose the 883 square feet, stack 12. That is what I mentioned under the sweet spot earlier on. And then for the 3-bedroom premium, I chose type C as well, same size, 1033 square feet. Why? It's because usually for people that look at 3-bedroom premium, likelihood of you guys buying in is usually for own stay. So typically you'll want like a very, very nice sea view, and I chose this block because it's actually closer to the MRT area as well. So that is how I choose the 3-bedroom top choice. And then now let's move forward to 4-bedroom. 4-bedroom, you got 3 different layout, 2 of them same size, and one that is a bigger unit, which is the private live unit. frankly speaking, when you come to like east side area, District 15, District 16, especially those with like the seafront facing, a lot of you guys will be buying the 4-bedroom for own stay. And usually you will be someone with a little bit more budget, you want the luxury of it. So a lot of people, I won't be surprised if you'll be choosing the 3-bedroom premium or like the 4-bedroom with private leave. So let's dive into a 4-bedroom right now. So for the first 2 4-bedroom, you're looking at the same size, 1173. This will be a very much more compact 4-bedroom. So if you're someone that you're looking at 3 premium, but you really need an additional room like what I mentioned in a lot of other projects, then this might be the unit for you to look into as a starter 4-bedroom. Good thing is they are also units that come with sea view. For 4-bedroom premium, 1378 square feet, a very good size. This one will be on stack 10, which is over here already, looking at the pool view into the East Coast Park area and into the sea area. So for this one, of course, you get your own private leave. You get the 2-room with the adjoined ensuite bathroom, and then you have the other rooms over here. So stack 10 also means that you will get pretty much of a nice view that is unblocked facing towards the sea. So for our top choice, right, of course, like what I mentioned earlier, most people when they come into this area, they want a little bit more premium. They would like to have private leave and things like that. So of course, the top choice to focus on will be the 1378 square feet 4-bedroom with private leave. So now let's move on to the last part, which is the 5-bedroom and penthouses. So penthouses, we only have 2 types, and for the 5-bedroom, we only have 1 stack, which is of course over here, because you get your sea view here and you get your sea view here is the best. For normal 5-bedroom, you have all the rooms tucked at one side. You have your private leave in this area. You have a very nice dining living over here, and then you have your junior master tucked over here. So the penthouses, they are slightly bigger because they have a bigger void area. So same stack, they are actually one of them situated on stack 5 and the other one is on top of stack 10, which are the 4-bedder. Layout a bit of a difference, but personally for my favorite penthouse, I will choose the one that is at stack 5, which is on top of the normal 5-bedroom, because this is actually the closest that you get to the sea as well. On top of that, the layout is such that this 2-room, right, actually share the toilet over here. This bedroom, you got an ensuite toilet over here, and of course your master bathroom is actually over here. You have a junior master with the junior bath. Because for this layout itself, if you are someone that is staying in this room, you likely need to cross all the way over here to use the toilet over here. I mean, that's the only down point. Other than that, in terms of like the size is pretty much similar. For this stack, it's actually seated on top of the 4-bedder, which is over here. You get the pool view all the way to the park view and to the sea view. But then again, the potential of there's another unit project that is building over here and things like that. That's why I consider stack 5 as the one that I prefer the most, and hence this penthouse would be more ideal. So we've come to the end. Frankly speaking, for the layout wise, I didn't really share too much. It's really like, you know, a touch and go and things like that. If you want to dive more into it, of course you can reach out directly. But at the end of the day, it really depends on, you know, what's happening on the launch day, what is the price that comes out during the launch itself, and then we will make our analysis on the spot itself. So we've come to the end of the analysis for Vela Bay. If you want to know more, do reach out. Otherwise, I will see you at the next video. Bye!